25.5 is going to look to address lane swapping in pro play. Axiom Arcanist is finally being nerfed, and we've got Zed on the buff list. So by the end of this video, you're going to be completely caught up to speed with all the patch 25.5 changes, which are set to hit live servers this upcoming Wednesday, March 5th. And did you know that mastering your champion is going to boost your win rate by a massive 9% on average? That's why at Skillcapped we offer Smurf commentaries. Simply just select the champion you want to master and get guides from challenger experts teaching you how to play your champion in the exact rank that you are stuck in. And after that, take any of our wildly popular exclusive courses that teach you the secrets to carrying as a top laner, a jungler, a mid laner, AD carry, and support. It really doesn't stop there either. We have courses on macro, wave control, trading, setting and hotkeys, CSing, vision, mechanics, low elo mistakes, the list goes on. The best part is you can try all of this out completely risk-free, since if you don't rank up while actively using Skillcapped, you get your money back and there's no questions asked. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description below right now to get the rank that you have always dreamed of. If you're an enjoyer of pro League of Legends, then you know how popular lane swaps really are right now. Riot wants to try and combat this moving forward, so they're going to be nerfing lane swaps for 25.5. Basically, what's going to happen now is that if two non-junglers show up in either top lane or mid lane, turret damage reduction is going to be amped up from 50 to 95%. The defending champion on the enemy team is going to gain all gold and experience from lane minions even if they don't last hit them, which is absolutely insane. Defending towers are going to execute minions in one hit, which means diving the enemy is going to be increasingly difficult. You and your duo are going to receive 50% less experience and gold from lane minions. And to top it all off, which will make dives almost impossible here, the defending champion under tower is going to take 50% less damage. Now it's looking like all of this is going to last for the first 3 minutes and 30 seconds of the game, and then after that, everything's going to go back to normal even if you're lane swapping. So what do you guys think about these changes? Definitely looks like lane swaps from the very start of the game are going to no longer be actionable. However, once that debuff wears off at 3 minutes and 30 seconds, you're still going to be able to swap. So we're likely going to see swaps after that timer, especially if a team wants priority for grubs. Now, at the very least, this should make the first couple of minutes of the game a little bit more entertaining, as having that early game 2v2 down bot lane is definitely going to be back now for sure. From the very start of the season, we've been raving about how strong Axiom Arcanist has been on so many champs, so hopefully you guys took advantage while you could, because it's finally getting nerfed for 25.5. The damage amp is dropping from 14 to 12% for single target ults and from 9 to 8% for AoE ultimates. Initial thoughts are that these nerfs shouldn't be enough to kill Axiom Arcanist, but they should bring it down more in line with alternative options now. Staff of Flowing Water has been an extremely niche support item for a while now, so it's getting buffed, with its passive and power duration being increased from 4 to 6 seconds. Sixth Sense is one of the weaker runes in that second row of the domination tree, so it's getting a buff for this patch, with its cooldown dropping from 275 for melee and 350 for ranged down to 250 seconds for both melee and ranged. So a big buff to ranged characters here, as 100 seconds off is pretty dang massive. Fiddlesticks is definitely one champ to watch out for with this rune, as having that extra vision reveal is going to be really nice for him due to the champ being so reliant on not being seen to be most effective with his R. The Unflinching rune is receiving a pretty nice early game buff here, as the armor and magic resist that you receive after being CC'd is going up from 2 scaling to 10 to 6 scaling to 12. Tal Wildarrows is getting a buff for this patch, but thankfully it's for melee champs only, as the item is already really good on so many ADCs right now. The melee crit per stack is being increased from 0.2 to 0.4%, so you're going to be able to hit your max power mid-game spike a bit faster now. In 25.4, there wasn't a single melee champ who bought the item in more than 5% of their games, so it's tough to say if this change is actually going to result in a build shift for any champs. Tryndamere, Master Yi, Akshan, Yone, Yasuo, Briar, and Bel'Veth are a few champs who would have the most potential with the item if the buffs do land impactful, and we're going to be sure to keep you guys in the loop if any new OP builds emerge due to this buff. So moving on to the champion changes now, Aphelios is receiving a buff to his attack speed ratio, as it's going up from 0.64 to 0.658. Aphelios is now in the best spot he's been in for solo queue in quite some time, as he's benefited a lot recently due to the indirect buffs to his core items being Tal Wildarrows and Infinity Edge. Mundo got hammered by the 25.4 item nerfs, so he's getting a compensation buff for this patch, with his base health being increased from 613 to 640. Seraphine's Q damage amp based on the a target's missing health is being increased from 60 to 75%. Zed is going to be buffed in two different ways, as his E base damage is going up by 5 at all ranks, and E bonus AD ratio sees a boost being increased from 65 to 80%. We have a small scaling nerf to Ambessa, with her E damage being lowered from 40 scaling to 140 to 40 scaling to 120. Riot is going to be issuing a partial revert to the Ashe buffs from last patch, as they're taking back the R buff with the damage going back down by 50 at all ranks. Aurora E damage is going to be taking a hit, with the base dropping by 5 at all ranks, while the AP ratio sees a dip going from 80 to 70%. Mid lane Cho'Gath with his movement speed build has been obliterating solo queue over the past patch, so it's fitting that as soon as we move him into the OP tier for mid lane, Riot's not wasting any time nerfing it. Cho'Gath is going to be losing damage on all 3 of his basic abilities, with the base damage on Q dropping by 20 at max rank. W damage is also down by 20 at max rank, while E max health damage is being lowered from 3% flat to 2.5, scaling to 3.5%. We have more nerfs to Elise, as the recent changes didn't do anything of significance to reduce her power in the support role. Elise is going to be losing some damage on her Q in both forms for 25.5, with her human form Q damage going down from 40 scaling to 160 to 40 scaling to 140. Spider form Q damage is being lowered by 10 at all ranks. K'Sante continues to be a very problematic champion in the very elite tiers of play, so Riot has more nerfs lined up for the champ. There are 2 nerfs on the way, with his passive mark damage being lowered from 20 to 12. W all-out bonus true damage is being reduced, going from 10 scaling to 100% to 10 scaling to 80%. Despite Skarner being in the gutter for solo queue, he does remain a top tier pick for pro play, so he's getting nerfed once again. Q max health damage is dropping from 10 to 8%. Q slow duration takes a hit, going from 1.25 to 1 second. E cooldown is going to be increased from 20 scaling to 16 seconds to 22 scaling to 18 seconds. So we're probably looking at a sub 46% win rate solo queue champ now due to these nerfs. Yorick jungle has been on the rise lately, holding one of the highest win rates for any jungler in solo queue, so Riot's nerfing it for 25.5, with his R monster damage cap being lowered from 100 to 50. This definitely hurts top lane Yorick a bit too, as he won't be taking Baron or Dragon as quickly in the mid to late game. Some poppy adjustments are being issued that are aimed to reduce her power in the support role while keeping top lane around the same power level. Health growth is being increased from 104 to 110. Passive shield based on max health is being changed, going from 13 scaling to 18%, where you gain that full 18% at level 13, to now 11 scaling to 20%, where you won't gain the 20% until level 18. E base damage is being lowered from 100 scaling to 260 to 80 scaling to 240. However, the bonus AD ratio is up from 100 to 120%. Okay guys, one last thing. Our rank up guarantee is absolutely insane. It's kind of like signing up for the gym and then just getting a refund if you don't get ripped. That's how confident we are in SkillCapped. We obsess over making the best guides with the top players, the rigorous testing, and top tier video editing to make your climb as easy as possible. If you're ready to level up, just visit skillcapped.com and literally see the difference. So there you have it, everyone. Those are all the 25.5 changes that are going to be hitting live servers on March 5th. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see ya in the next one.